Her story is gonna blow your mind.
I wanted to go pro. Life's like, you're going to get a PhD in Lyme disease, 30 plus symptoms.
More than 30.
I was literally acute liver failure, and you're going to die, Heather. No one could tell me, and so I just kept training. And then I found IHT. Lyme disease is entirely treatable. We're gaslit by the medical community. I just saved my own freaking life, and you're telling me to stop doing it. I'm firing you as a doctor. Lyme disease was the disease for me. I mean, come on.
Hello, people, and welcome to this Lyme Success Hub where we have people who conquered Lyme, which is such an amazing thing to conquer. And we have today an amazing guest, Heather. And I am super excited to hear her story because her story is gonna blow your mind. And I can't wait to hear it. Hello, Heather. Nice to have you on.
Hi, Jana. It's a pleasure to be here.
Likewise. So, can you tell us more, for example, about how your Lyme journey started and what was the development, but from the beginning, what it looked like?
Well, Jana, I'm going to tell you, for time's sake, I really just want to start with my Lyme journey began a couple years after my last bodybuilding competition that I did. So I'd been, training, doing competitions, my whole life up until that point. I think I was 32 when I did that competition in 2010. And, a couple years after that, I ended up, I was actually super excited. I wanted to go pro. Okay. I don't want to leave that out of the story.
Yeah.
I had won that contest. I got first place, first overall.
Wow.
I wanted to go pro. I wanted to make a name for myself, right? I had all these plans, and life had another plan for me. It it had other ideas. So
Yeah, as it goes like that. I mean,
so it had Lyme in my future. I had no idea, right? So life's like, you're gonna get a PhD in Lyme disease, okay? So just wait for it.
yeah,
um, a,
it happens. It happens.
Yeah, so a couple years after that contest, I actually ended up going through a divorce, getting out of a bad marriage, and I got remarried to my husband now. And I think my body just relaxed. I was in a really good, loving relationship finally, and my health started to crash. So it really started with extreme fatigue, like really bad fatigue, and gastrointestinal issues were the first two things that came and got me. I mean, I actually was falling asleep when I was picking my kids up from school, like in my car, and they'd have to like pound on the windows to get me to open up the car, like to let them in. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
it
that's
was crazy. I couldn't go grocery shopping anymore. Couldn't make it through Costco. That's a
yeah.
big store here. I'd shop and have to take a nap in my car
Mm,
before driving home. So that was the first signs for me for my health, like something's wrong, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But then it's this whole mystery. Like, what is it? Because for the most people, it kind of starts with gut symptoms, gut issues.
Yeah,
For me too, so I can totally understand it. And brain symptoms, because gut is another brain, as they say.
it is. Yeah, like which we learned that through the Lyme journey. We learned so much about our bodies and our health, whether we want to learn this stuff or not. We get to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know more than I want to know, but it's actually good too at the same time.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned the mind stuff because when I would be driving, I would not know where I was at. So it was
Mm,
like amnesia type thing. So I'd have to call my husband. He'd have to guide me back home. I mean, I couldn't grocery shop. I couldn't drive because I got lost.
yeah.
My stomach hurt so bad. Like no matter what I put in, it just hurt so bad all the time, you
Yeah.
know. And you're basically bedbound. I was stuck in bed and my family's taking care of me. And I knew something was really bad wrong. You think cancer or, I mean, that's what everyone goes towards, right?
Right, right. Everything like goes through your head. We start researching the symptoms online.
Yeah,
That like what's wrong, but it's a
yeah.
mystery.
So for me, it was 2 years and like five doctors, which is pretty amazing before I got actually diagnosed. I was diagnosed with Epstein-Barr first,
Hmm.
which explains that fatigue, right? And so I found a DO doctor, naturopathic and medical doctor, and got intravenous ozone to treat Epstein-Barr,
Hmm.
mono.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. It's
So,
usually in some ways, for some reason. Like I either Lyme reactivates Epstein Barr or
yes,
one activates the other. I don't know, to be honest.
yeah, exactly. Evidently Lyme had to,
Yeah.
bring that out, but I was getting treated for that for about a year, and then my doctor at the time was like, "You should have healed from this by now." So they did a ton of blood work, and that's whenever I was finally diagnosed with Lyme disease and co-infections. So,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
oh, there was like a
Yeah.
laundry list of symptoms, 30 plus symptoms. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was great.
Would you say even if it's more than 30? Because I sometimes think it can be a lot, like even a lot more than 30.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm just trying to put a ballpark on it. I mean, I have it written down here, all these different things that I had. I mean, mycoplasma was part of it, low thyroid, heavy metal toxicity, SIBO, the gut thing. We had
Yeah.
POTS. I had the chemical, sensitivity, so the mast cell activation syndrome.
Yeah.
All this stuff was found. I mean, and the neurological issues, those were just so intense and just
Oh,
so much.
yeah.
You couldn't think straight. You couldn't live, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It's connected. Like the brain is such a powerful machine, but when it gets messed up with all these like um, transmitters and everything, when it doesn't work, it's really, really terrible. So people
yeah,
can be bedridden, homebound. It's really, really a struggle.
yeah, it was pretty crazy. And looking back, I had like two warning signs early on. Like at 15 years old, I had the knees swell up really bad when I would run,
Oh,
do
uh-huh.
aerobics, or squatting.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. So, and that was at 15 years old. And I'd have to put ice packs on there to get the swelling to go down. And that was continued my whole life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it now. I don't have that now. But
Yeah, nobody paid attention that your knees were swollen, and I mean, nobody diagnosed it. Nobody looked for.
I went to a doctor about it. I thought, oh, I've got rheumatoid arthritis. So I was tested for that several times and it was always negative. So now that once I learned I had Lyme, I was like, aha, that's where that came from. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, and then one other thing was when I was training for the bodybuilding contest, that 2010 competition,
Mm-hmm.
um, I ended up having vasovagal syncope,
Oh,
which is, if you know what that is, I think you know what that is.
that's
Oh my
scary.
gosh,
Fainting. If I.
it's fainting. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I was doing high intensity interval training and I would pass out and fall
Oh,
off my bike.
oh,
So I knew something was off. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But no one could tell me. And so I just kept training. I kept pushing through it. I mean, hindsight 2020, I shouldn't have done that. My body was trying to tell me something, but doctors couldn't tell me what was going on. So I just like powered through this stuff, you guys. I don't
Yeah,
recommend you do that.
that's the only way to go, I think, because
Oh,
you have to like push and be like, tomorrow is gonna be so much better, and then you wake up tomorrow
it's
and again, and it's like a thing, like never bored.
no, oh my gosh, exactly. Lyme disease is not a boring disease. And maybe that's why it picked me because that's one of my mottos in life is my life honestly has never been boring. Not at all. I mean, every step of the way of my life has not been boring. And I like to joke about that. And so Lyme disease was the disease for me. I mean, come on. I mean, it was not boring.
Yeah, it kind of challenges you. It challenges people who are kind of challenging themselves. So it kind of maybe even pushes us to be like, kind of, we have to toughen up and kind of
Yes.
be stronger, basically. I mean, that's the only way to kind of live. But people say, oh, like, you're so strong, like going through this. And I heard many stories, other people, like, oh, this person, you're so strong going through this. Well, it's basically the only way you can go. Like there's no alternative. You have to be strong, and you have to lift yourself up mentally. You have to like just push and go through another day and be like, okay, today I'm gonna nail this. Like today I'm gonna beat this. Today I'm gonna figure something out.
Yes.
um,
And I think that in my experience, just talking with different Lyme people, people with Lyme, they are my most favorite people. People with Lyme disease.
that's
They
amazing.
are. They're amazing. Every single one of us, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, even if I'm over, seems to be over remission, I love Lyme people. So that's
Yeah.
my why of talking about this, right? Like, I'm not just going to close the chapter and move on. I want to stay connected with all the Lymies out there in the world. So,
That's great. That's great. That's why I wanted this, because I think the people of that caliber, like people who are like have beaten it, who have been through the dark times and have lifted up from the ashes of Lyme, whatever Lyme made out of them. But they just the Lyme just makes us different, and when you go out of it, I believe it's like person is stronger, like literally stronger. So
yeah.
and I think, yeah, it's like a lot to do with how your mindset works later, like through
Mhm.
these, how you push through, how you understand life, how you figure things, what is not important and what is important in life, how you see things. So
Lyme stories, man. Whether it's the journey, right? All of it's a journey, or, remission stories, all of it's amazing. It's not boring at all. Each story is individual, like, because it's all different,
yeah,
slightly different with a similar, cores,
yeah,
but it's always a story of resilience, and
yes.
overcoming.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it sheds a lot of light on the people who aren't even in this sphere. Like it can give a lot of motivation for even other people who are going through other kind of autoimmune stuff, or just
Definitely.
figuring things out, or stuff that maybe someone will watch this video and be like, "Hey, my knees are really swollen. Like I should maybe check for Lyme disease, like or something."
Right, you
So
never know. You never know what the root cause could be, right? And Lyme disease is entirely treatable in layers. It can take a long time, 10 years for me, 10 plus
mhm.
years. It can take a long time to figure out the different layers, the different steps along the way. And you can conquer one layer and, have a big celebration over that, and then you keep going, find the next layer, the next
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you probably felt fantastic when you started like going outside and walking. I think that's a big deal
Oh
for
my
people.
gosh. Yes, that was the first thing I was able to do was to go outside and just walk, anywhere. And for a good distance, like I could make a couple miles, in the beginning. And now, I mean, I went on a 6 mile hike just the other day, a couple weeks ago actually.
Mm.
And yeah, there's no after effect, like there's no exercise intolerance, I can just do it again the next day. I mean,
Amazing. Well,
it's crazy.
that's fascinating. That's
Yeah,
absolutely, I mean, because yeah, that's a goal that is really like inspiring.
it's
So
attainable. It's attainable. It's attainable.
yeah, that people need to know that.
No, I would have never thought that a year plus ago. I've been, yeah, I would have never dreamed of that. I could barely make it around the block.
Mhm.
Just the musculoskeletal issues and stuff. It was just would flare it up. It was terrible.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, it's night and day difference.
Yeah, but you were positive for multiple infections. Like it wasn't only Borrelia, right?
Yeah, I had, okay, so I wasn't CDC positive on Lyme, but I
Mhm.
had three Lyme specific bands that were positive. So, and it was, I think it was a Western blot test, which only tests for 15 strands or strains.
Yeah,
And
it's
we
not.
know there's over 300, you know.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
it's.
definitely had the Lyme disease. And then the co-infections,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
there's all those other issues and intertwines and with the gut and oh my.
Yeah,
I
they go.
had
Yeah, they go together
the
always.
POTS, I think the POTS was really crazy,
Mhm. Mhm.
which is all the autonomic nervous system stuff, you know.
Yeah,
Gas-
when did you notice that POTS was starting to go away? Like, was it recent towards your remission, or was it like before?
So I used to have the part where you couldn't stand up and you'd pass out, right? So that I got to go away about 4 years ago, 4 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. But the body temperature regulation
Mm-hmm.
and like your blood pressure, mine would go high and it could be low. It'd be
Mm-hmm.
all over the place, you know. So, and I still had the gastroparesis, you know, the gut palsy.
Yeah.
So that I still had that happening right before I started the treatment that I started last year, and
Yeah.
that's gone now. So those are all gone now.
That's amazing. And throughout the years, you've probably been through kind of different kind of stuff. You probably tried different remedies, different medications.
Yes, yes. In the very beginning, I was desperate, okay? And so I went the full-fledged, like Western medicine, pharmaceutical drugs. I went the antibiotic route. I did two different antibiotics for 6 months, and there was five different medications I was on, like medication for anxiety, medication for thyroid. I can't remember all of them, but there was five more. And my body did not like that. So, about six, I think I'd just come off the antibiotics, and my liver was actually in liver failure.
Mm.
And most likely it was from the medications, the seven different ones I was on. So, I was literally acute liver failure, and you're going to die, Heather. So, there was nothing they could do other than put me on a transplant list, which was horrifying, right? I think I was only, what was I, 34 at the time, maybe 35.
Mm-hmm.
That's awfully young to have liver failure, but this was the turning point for me in my healing journey.
Mm-hmm.
It took almost dying for me to go, okay, I got to
Mm-hmm.
look at other healing modalities, right? So
Yeah.
it was prayer and meditation for me that led me to Gerson's therapy, which is coffee enemas for liver detox and
Liver.
coffee enemies. Coffee enemas.
Yeah. Liver detox. It's so important.
Yes.
It's super, super important. Like glutathione is also very good.
Hmm.
Milk thistle, right? Uh,
Yes.
sweating, um,
Yes.
packs, all those things. And for me, whey, like liquid whey, worked really well. But currently, it's not really attainable always, so it's hard to find a goat. But
Right? I know. But that's when really woke up to, you know what? My body, at least for me, my body was rejecting the medications. So I had to look and think outside the box to stay
mhm,
alive, you know? So I did reverse my liver failure, 3 months of those coffee enemas, reversed it completely.
that's amazing.
And that doctor, you guys, so when I went back, they were amazed, right? Which I thought, wow, that's positive. They're amazed by what I did. But once I told him what I did, he said, "You need to stop doing that." And I was like, "Okay, I just saved my own freaking life, and you're telling me to stop doing it. You know what? I'm firing you as a doctor.
It,
I mean, you just left me for dead." I'm sorry, but
yeah, and, people figure
I,
things out on their own, and then doctors are
yes.
do that.
So
I mean,
for me, I just felt like, all right, you know what? I got to rethink this healing thing, okay?
yeah,
And
yeah, you did good.
that's when I shifted. I shifted right there. I was full on all about detoxing. The sauna came. I bought an 80s sauna, you guys, for $400, and I had it in my bedroom. And then a body vibration machine, the do 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 do. So to help loosen up the lymphatics, right, to help get things out of the body. Epsom salt baths. I had so many bags of Epsom salt lined outside of my tub. It was ridiculous.
Hmm.
Um, but I just started down that path, that detox. I've got to remove toxins because that's what reversed my liver failure, was removing toxins. So
Yeah.
um, I really started to hyper focus on that. I think the Lyme OCD came into play, really beneficial for me there.
Hmm. Hmm. Like, what was kind of Lyme OCD like for you?
Well, you kind of hyper fixate on things, right? You want to, at least for me, I wanted to know every single thing I could know about this new symptom that I had, that was plaguing me. And how does that like equate to the whole overall picture with Lyme disease? You know what I mean? So I
Right.
just wanted to learn the bones about every single thing. I'm a very inquisitive person. Very curious. That
Good.
can be good and bad. Okay. So I feel like this was a good part of it.
I think it's good in general. I think it's good.
I think
Yeah.
so. Because then I started looking at, okay, where else can I pull toxins out of my environment? Not just
Yeah.
my body. Detoxing is removing them from the body, right? The best you can.
Yeah.
But also just cleaning up your food, your diet, which I
Hmm.
had severe allergies. So that was my motivator, just process of elimination, trying to get all those things figured out. I found that my
Yeah.
body was severely allergic to corn and
Hmm.
wheat. Corn and wheat. And
Hmm.
then sugar would feed the Lyme and make me have flare ups. So those all got removed. And you
Good.
don't get to eat any processed food. I mean, you're making everything from scratch because you're basically left with meat, a couple of carbs, right? At least for me, it
Yeah.
was brown rice and non-GMO potatoes.
Hmm.
And organic, so you've got only have 70%. I mean, you have 70% less of the
Hmm.
toxins in your food. So I went that route.
Hmm.
Um, Had to clean up my supplements because guess what? There's fillers in the supplements that I was allergic to as well.
Right. 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 Good. Like data starch and a lot of stuff they put.
Yes,
Not
I love that.
data starch, but maybe something else. That's. I mean, there is a bunch of them.
Oh my gosh. Yes. There's like a laundry list of the fillers and you're just trying to, and then the ones that have the fillers I could take were always expensive.
Yeah.
So that was always fun, right? I'm like, oh, another expense. I'm an expensive person, you know?
It is like, if not the most expensive disease, because or the most unpredictable expensive disease, because you never know when it's going to end. You never know how much money you already spent on it, and you're never going to know how much money you are yet to spend on treatments. So
I know. I know. And I would feel so guilty about it. Like I would feel bad. I just felt like every step I was like, whoa, this is getting really expensive. And I
yeah,
didn't even do stem cells, and that's really expensive. I wasn't even able to do stem cell therapy. You know what I mean? A lot of people
yeah,
do that.
that's very expensive, but it's not like 100% like success rate or something. Like it's not even like
That's true.
these are not there. So I don't know. Probably some people have really good success, but it also depends like which kind of stem cells are you taking, I guess. I mean, that's my logic. I'm not sure,
I
but
know. I mean, I heard mixed stories. I know a couple people who did, gain a bit of functionality from doing stem cells. So,
Hmm.
I mean, it
Yeah,
just too far out of my reach, anyhow.
yeah, it could work. It could not work. For a lot of therapies, it's like that. You never know, like what's
Yes.
for one person and what's not going to work for the other. So
Yeah.
it's um. But what actually worked, like how you were getting to that, like kind of revolutionary moment, like of like getting towards like, wow, I'm really healing. This is the way I should go. These therapies feel really, really good. Like these therapies are really helping, and how you moved on to remission.
Well, I mean, I was able to achieve about 65%, functionality. I was
Hmm.
still housebound from being immune compromised. I was severely immune compromised, but it was really removing those toxins and stuff like that. I mean, I did parasite cleanses and stuff along the way. Always doing the coffee enemas. The food, cleaning up the food made a huge difference.
Hmm.
Making my own toothpaste, laundry soap, these different things. That was still removing the toxins. But I was still left with, some symptoms. I was still left with, I could go grocery shopping again, but I'd have to, lay low for 2 to 5 days about
Hmm.
there after every time I did something. So I
Hmm.
was still there 2 days, I would say. I got it down to 2 days before, I found this last treatment
Hmm.
that really would sent me into remission. But I mean, I was a lot better, but I was not fully better. Like I
Hmm.
wasn't fully 100%. Like I couldn't hold a job. I couldn't go to the gym, still had exercise intolerance, that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
at least I was able to walk around the block, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah,
I
at
hadn't
least,
been able to do that before.
yeah, at least get your mind kind of a little bit cleared out by walking is a big deal. I think it's really helpful.
Yeah, that was very helpful. Um, I mean, I had a resurgence of my symptoms right before I found the last treatment that worked for me
Hmm.
because I was going through some trauma therapy. We
Hmm.
don't have to get into the bones of that, but just that is part one layer of Lyme disease. It can be, not for every single person, but Lyme disease itself is actually a trauma. We're gaslit by the medical community as well as like society. So that's a big piece of it. But my POTS actually came back when I was doing trauma therapy, and that was 8 months before I found IHT, intermittent hypoxia therapy, which is the final therapy that gave me remission. But I literally a few weeks before I found IHT, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. You know what I mean? Just me
Hmm.
and God. I'm just like, I don't think I can do this anymore. What my kids are all grown. Okay, so my youngest is actually 19. She was 18 at the time, just turned 18,
Hmm.
and I'm like, what kind of grandma am I even going to be able to be? Like, can I even hold the baby? When my kids have my grandbabies, like that was just terrifying to me. Like, what am I even going to live past 60? I mean,
Hmm.
all these things you're thinking about in your mind. And then I found IHT, like seriously, like a few weeks later, I found it.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it worked. This one like was the final piece for my puzzle anyhow. I don't know if it's the final piece for everybody's puzzle or not. I have no idea, but it was for me. So,
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I believe that many of us don't really know much about that therapy. Well, if you can just describe us what it is, like in your experience, like what exactly it is, and how did you find it, and how it worked, how it works.
okay. Well, I found it from just a newsletter that I've been receiving. I don't know if everybody's heard of Dr. Mercola or not, but I've been receiving his. You have? Okay.
I have,
Um,
yeah, I have
okay,
some
good.
from Dr. Mercola, like the keto MCT oil. That's what I have.
Yes. I tried keto as well at one point, you guys. There's so much we can't even get in this interview. I mean, there's so much. But
Yeah.
it was his newsletter of all things. I
Awesome.
followed him since I was a teenager. And so, yeah, his this newsletter came through and it was about hypoxia. And it was a January of 2024.
Hmm.
And I'm reading this and I'm like, oh my gosh, they actually focused in on Lyme disease specifically. At the end of the article, there was a book. And
Hmm.
so I clicked on the link and ordered the book. The book was called Undoing Lyme Disease by Arkady Prokopov. And this is a Russian scientist, okay? So, who lives in Spain. And I
Hmm.
thought, all right, so it took 2 weeks to get the book because it's coming from another country, right? And so I'm trying to research it out in my country. I'm in America, and they don't have IHT here. They have 12 places that only focus on like the fitness aspect of it. You know,
Hmm.
mountain climbers use it. Athletes, like professional athletes, use it to enhance their endurance. And so I thought, okay, well, how am I going to do this? So I read the book. I only
Hmm.
understood about a quarter of the information because it's very sciencey, right?
Yeah.
And that was enough though. I was like, okay, I want to do this. Like I want to do this. I want to try this out. I want to see if this works for me. And my husband and I, we reached out to the author of the book, which is Arkady,
Hmm.
and we reached out through Facebook Messenger and sent him an email as well.
Hmm.
And to our surprise, he responded. Like I honestly didn't think. I mean, as a scientist, but yeah, I didn't think he would answer,
That's
but
great. That's amazing.
he answered. And so we just wanted to ask him questions like, where can we get this? Where can we find someone that can help me do this?
Yeah.
And he said, well, can you send me your story, your Lyme
Hmm.
story? And so I was
Hmm.
like, okay. So I typed up my Lyme story, which took me about a week because Lyme
Hmm.
brain, right?
Yeah.
And then he got my story and then he reached out and said that he could coach me.
Amazing.
The author of the book. So I'm like, okay, we're all right. I mean, that's right, straight to the source.
Yeah, that's the best possible way. I mean,
That's the best way. And in my country, not having IHT here, I was like, well, that's my only option. So it's like a lifeline, literally. It felt like to me, because it is
hmm.
available in other countries. It's not here.
Hmm.
Okay, so now you're like, what is IHT, right? I'm talking about it. I'm so excited about it. I might have to read the scientific part, okay, guys? So
Yeah, feel
I
free.
don't
Feel
want that to look inauthentic, but
on it.
it's still
It's
it's pretty sciencey.
totally okay.
Okay, so IHT is intermittent hypoxia therapy. It's similar to the hyperbaric therapy, which we've all heard about HBOT, right? And so the similarity is this: it helps oxygenate the body tissues all the way down to the bone marrow and the cartilage. Okay, so that's where your immune system is, guys. That's where the T fighter cells are made, your white blood cells, everything to do with your immune system. You have stem cells in there, and now they're getting oxygen. Think about that, right?
Yeah.
That's where Lyme disease likes to hide. It loves to hide in your cartilage. We all know that painful. The Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, I have that too. I had that too, but it's all in there. So if you get oxygen in there, it not only like stimulates your immunity, which it did for me. Mine returned to full immunity 7 months into the treatment.
Mhm.
Um, but it kills the Lyme bacteria as well. So they don't like oxygen. So if you get oxygen in there, it's killing them. And so when you no, that means there's herxing, you guys. I'm sorry. There's herxing with this therapy, okay? Is there a therapy that doesn't have herxing, you guys? Come on, tell me one. There
No,
isn't. There's none.
no, definitely not.
I
The
had 4 months of herxing, so
the only question
okay.
that sparks my interest is how does the oxygen get so deep into the leg, into the bone? Like, how does it, by inhaling, how do you get it so deep in there?
Okay,
That's
that's my
unreal.
next part here. Are we ready?
Hmm.
Okay. So IHT, intermittent hypoxia therapy. is a non-invasive and safe procedure that involves breathing in hypoxic, low oxygen air, and then it's followed by hyperoxic, high oxygen air at varying intervals through a mask.
Mhm.
So you're literally sitting in a chair. You have a hypoxitator machine, which is a high altitude training machine that
Mhm.
you can adjust the oxygen levels. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's this varying, oscillating high oxygen, low oxygen, high oxygen, low oxygen. So this pattern, okay,
Yeah.
is it works by destroying the damaged mitochondria and allowing our cells to regenerate new, healthier mitochondria.
Mhm. Wow.
That's the bones of it right there.
So
Is
as much as I understand, so it's maybe like the pattern is itself is important, right?
yes,
The
yes.
pattern.
So there's like in the beginning they call it dives. So
Mhm.
the low oxygen, it's very similar to Wim Hof, okay? But you
Mhm.
don't have to actually hold your breath. The machine does that for you. And you can
Mhm.
adjust how much oxygen, you can adjust how much oxygen is coming through the mask.
Yeah.
Okay, so it has specific times.
Mhm.
You have 4 minutes with high oxygen, and then it's between 3 and 5 minutes with low oxygen air. And you
Mhm.
repeat that. You repeat it 3 to 5 times. So in the
Mhm.
beginning, 3 dives would last about 30 minutes.
Mhm.
Then I'm at 5 dives now, and it's about an hour. Okay.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so here's another piece to the puzzle. Okay. So IHT causes a mild amount of stress on the respiratory system. And in response, our bodies activate a natural process of cellular fine tuning. And as
Mhm.
a result, IHT has the potential to improve our quality of life by focusing on its very core, the cellular interaction between the environment and our bodies.
Wow.
They're training your body to get rid of dysfunctional mitochondria and replace it with the good ones. Okay, so
Mhm.
here's the key about mitochondria.
Mhm.
Mitochondria, if you have, like in Lyme situations and a lot of chronic illness situations, we
Mhm.
have too many dysfunctional mitochondria. And guess what? Those guys reproduce faster than good mitochondria. Do you see how the balance can be off? Really, really big time here.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
this will kill or get rid of dysfunctional mitochondria. And when
Mhm.
those guys are gone, then the good ones can be replenished. And then you're left with good ones, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This is complicated, okay? Like I know I'm telling everybody with Lyme brains this information. I now you see why I only understood about a quarter of this information when I first started.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite there in the science. Mitochondria is like a complex thing on its own.
Yes.
But if you're really, really like decisive, you have strong resolve, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna nail this down, I'm gonna beat this, like there's nothing stopping you. So,
Yeah.
you
I mean,
have
it
this.
makes sense. Think about it. I mean, it seems simple yet complex, right?
Yes, yes, it is complex. I mean, I think Lyme is in itself complex disease because it consists of so many different systems in the body. Everything's connected, everything works together, and
Yeah.
everything depends on the brain. So sometimes it's super hard to get, as you say, it's super hard sometimes to get so much oxygen into your brain, like
Yeah.
or to um, like because we're oftentimes inside, indoors, or
Hmm.
just not even breathing right, not even know how to breathe. Like,
Yes. When you're in a lot of pain with Lyme disease, we tend to hyperventilate.
mm-hmm,
Okay. And a lot of like trauma victims also hyperventilate. Pain, and especially pain and Lyme disease that is ongoing, long term, ongoing, and just never lets up. That
mm-hmm,
is, it makes you hyperventilate. And you
Mm,
don't even think about it. You don't even realize you're doing it. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
so, like, this helped, like, retrain the breathing, my breathing technique,
good.
essentially. Wow. And do you want to hear all the stuff that it does? I have it
Of
written
course,
here. Yeah.
absolutely. Go on,
This,
please.
this is why Lyme people are going to love this. I'm telling you.
Right.
Okay, so IHT conditioning potentials, right? Because does have 30 years of science behind it, but again, it's not really widely used out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first up, neuroprotection.
Mm-hmm.
Do we
Yeah.
need help with our neurological issues or what?
100%.
Neuroprotection. I don't have any nerve issues anymore. Like, it's gone.
Wow.
7 months now. Okay,
Wow.
mental stress regulation. Hello.
We need that one.
Blood pressure regulation. Hello. Sleep modulation. Pain modulation. That's huge.
Yes.
Respiratory facilitation. Appetite regulation. Exercise tolerance, which as a former bodybuilder was like, yeah, I want that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm being selfish here on that one, but and then body composition. Hey, that one's really good for bodybuilding too.
Mhm.
And last but definitely not least is immune system regulation.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good package. I mean, I'll take it. I
I
mean,
know.
yeah. I mean, but you're
Jana.
not only, yeah, you're not only like ex bodybuilder. You came back to it, kind of. I mean, to lifting, right?
Okay, yes. Okay. Okay. Yes, I'm back in the gym and I can do a 135-pound bench press and my deadlift is 225 pounds again. So the muscles, thank God for muscle memory, okay? And
Yeah.
overload principle and IHT, right? Gives me the endurance. But okay, so the muscles are like all pumped up, but I have the biggest fat layer over the top, okay? 10 years plus of doing nothing. Okay, I have a ways to go on the body composition, but yes, I'm strong again.
But it's totally understandable. Like even cholesterol, like is protective, you know. Like so, I think
Yeah,
neuroprotective. So even if you have some fat, it's not a big deal. Especially if you do like muscle training and if your muscles are strong and have problem with that kind of. That's not a problem. I believe
I just
it's
think people see the bodybuilding pictures and think you're like that all the time. No.
no. I think maybe
Right?
body people are maybe too perfectionistic about it.
Yes.
Detail, every little string, every littlest, the smallest muscle.
Yes.
But I think that, like in the general picture, like the biggest win is that you can kind of lift again, and that's why I think for women it's so important that we can lift because
Yeah.
not only we need to lift stuff back, like sometimes, I mean, let's just say kids for younger women, like we need to lift our kids, we need to carry our kids. So basically,
Hmm.
we need to be strong. Sir,
I'll be able to carry my grandchildren now whenever that happens. No pressure on my kids, right? But I'll be able
yeah,
to be a fun grandma, That was really important to me. Way above the bodybuilding or anything to do with that. I'm definitely changed in that department. Like I don't know if there's another show unless I can find a way to do it in a healthy way, you know? So
yeah,
I'm totally changed as a person in that way, right?
yeah, and that's amazing. I think one part that maybe we left out here is like that youthful energy that it gives you back, that oxygen possibly it gives you back that youthful energy, like the
Yes.
basically you feel so much younger and you feel your energy levels like just plummet. So
That is another piece of IHT. It's not just like for undoing Lyme disease. You know what I'm saying? It's also anti-aging and longevity. So
hmm
I'll be doing this for the rest of my life, you guys. Like after 10 plus years with Lyme disease, like I need that.
Yeah. I
You know what I
heard.
mean?
Yeah, yeah, you definitely need to do that. I'm motivated now. Now, hearing your story, I'm really inspired by it, and I really want to try it. I really want to would want to do it, but right, the correct way. Because
Right.
I think now I think that I had access to some machine that was like breathing some kind of air, but I am not sure if that is the same thing.
Yeah, who
And
knows? I mean,
and
there's so
I,
many therapies.
yeah, I wasn't feeling comfortable with that, and I was like, no, I can't do this. It was like too
Oh,
weird for me, but I don't think that was
I
that. So,
had that. Jana, I had that when I first started IHT. It's putting the
hmm
mask on your face. You
hmm
guys, yes, I felt like I was suffocating the whole bit. You have, at least for me, I had to work through that to real, and there's a pattern to breathe.
hmm
And you kind of breathe with this machine. It has like a burst of air every so often. So you
hmm
adjust your breath to that.
hmm
And I had to keep telling myself that, this is only for this amount of time. And there is still oxygen in the air, right, coming through. But
hmm
that is one aspect that is difficult with it. But I mean, think about hyperbaric chamber. You got to get inside that chamber and you trust the person locking you in there and the pressurization. Like, I couldn't do it. So
it's very claustrophobic. Like you have to.
I am very.
Yeah, it's well, me too. Me too. I love to open windows wherever I drive, wherever I go. I don't like
Yes.
super like closed
I don't like
things.
elevators. I don't like, especially old ones.
Mm-hmm.
I got
Well,
trust issues there, okay?
that makes sense totally.
No. My husband's fine, and then I'm standing there going, I would have taken the stairs before Lyme disease, but stairs are not even an option. So here I am standing at this elevator, and he's
Yeah.
trying to talk me into going on it. Yeah, it's so funny. But at
Yeah.
least you guys with IHT, the mask, if you're feeling claustrophobic, whatever, you just take it off.
hmm
You know what I mean? Like you don't have to stay that way. And then you just work on it psychologically to work your way through it. It took me
Yeah.
a while, but it was well worth it. I mean, I'm gonna be doing this forever, so
Great. So you have access to it, right? You can do it very often, right?
yeah, I have it. I have a machine, high altitude training machine in my home, and then
Good.
then I had ARC as my coach, just all online Zoom meetings, and then texting
Mm-hmm.
for like troubleshooting. In the beginning was a lot of the herxing you need to
Oh. Mm-hmm.
troubleshoot out. There can be nutrition deficiencies can actually get in the way. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a few things that you have to work through, but it's the same thing with Lyme disease. Every treatment, you're always
Yeah.
working through stuff, and it's not any different for this one as well.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, the most important thing is you feel so much better. Like, how many months are you in remission right now?
7 months on the 23rd. I don't know what day we are today, but on the
As-
23rd would be seven. Was that
So,
yesterday?
yeah, it was yesterday.
7 months.
Right, right. Oh, that's
And no symptoms, like no flare ups. In fact, I'm starting to forget about my symptoms. They're starting, I mean, that's the amazing part about the mind is
yeah,
once you're out of it, you start to forget.
yeah. Which is
Surprisingly.
it's supposed to be that way, if you ask me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I mean, you kind of spend so much time there, you know, it was a big chunk of my life. And to think that I could forget that quickly is pretty amazing. I didn't
yeah,
expect that.
because at the end of the day, you realize, okay, it was just a one part of your life, but it wasn't your like it wasn't you. Like Lyme was something that you were carrying, like a burden that you were carrying through life. But then you came out on the other side, and you're just okay. I'm not carrying this heavy thing
Yeah.
anymore. I
Yeah.
can be lighter and just go and be happy.
Yeah. Go. Yeah. The gym, hiking. I mean, you name it. I've been out to the coast out here to check it out. Last time I went, I ended up having stomach issues like partway through, but I got to go at the same place and really enjoy it without any issues. That was really amazing. Didn't
Well,
have to think about anything except for what I was doing.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was not screaming at me anymore.
yeah, yeah. It's important. It's a success. So you got back to like the normal diet, or you're just keeping the diet that.
No, I'm gonna keep doing the diet. I mean, think of all this health knowledge that I've learned.
Mm-hmm,
Um, I am definitely gonna keep with my diet. You know what I mean? Because that was a big piece. I feel like to get that 65% better, and it
mm-hmm,
wouldn't hurt anything. You know what
mm-hmm.
I mean? And we live in a toxic world, you guys. Like, it doesn't hurt to do some detoxing along the way. Parasite cleanses wouldn't hurt a couple times a year, just as a maintenance type thing. Because I
Yeah,
definitely don't want those aspects to reverse, even if
yeah,
with the IHT. I mean,
mm-hmm.
I think I'll always be changed. You know what I mean? I'll always be changed in that way. That knowledge is irreplaceable, and the
Yes.
only way you get it is just through a trial. Lyme disease is a trial. You know?
Yeah, it is. It is, and as you mentioned, as we talked about this interview, you mentioned like you like to be a conqueror and not a warrior. So that's what's very important, that we are conquerors, not
Yes.
just
Well, that goes
warriors.
okay. That goes into mindset. Okay, so oh my gosh, so when I was thinking about this, when you gave me the questions and
Hmm.
mindset, here's what I think of when I think of mindset, you guys. I think of someone who is determined. I think of someone who is persistent. I think of someone who's patient. Lyme makes you patient, period. You're going to learn that one through your journey. Whether every day is up and down, overall, you're going to learn patience
Yeah.
and strong willed. Do you think? I mean, that's what I think of when I think of someone with a good mindset.
Yes.
And here's the linchpin for me. The catalyst for remission, you guys, is entirely one's attitude. So the catalyst is what that spark, that piece that
Hmm.
gets you over that mountain, if you will, to get recovery, to get to remission, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't you
Exactly.
think? Don't you think?
Exactly. It's kind of the big part is in the mindset, and it's maybe the hardest to see that part of a piece of a puzzle. That's the mindset. That's probably the hardest one to get it right.
Like it's a big piece, but yet it's like when you think of catalyst, it's just like it's that spark, that I don't know, that just that extra oomph that gets you there. So okay, I have a couple questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you truly believe healing is possible for you? It's a question
Yeah,
you gotta think,
100.
right? Do you think? Okay.
Yeah,
And then
yes,
will you search and do anything to find the healing modalities necessary to fully heal?
yes, yes, absolutely. Like I'm pretty certain I would. I will.
You moved to another country to get a therapy, so you fit in this mindset I'm talking about here, Jana.
Yeah, I do. Must have.
You do. They're
Yeah,
always searching, and a lot of Limeys are. In fact, most are. You know what I mean? That's why I think that's a beautiful community. People.
it makes us travel. Makes us travel the world. Makes us see different places.
I know, and meet people in other countries like you and me. I mean, it's so fun. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it gets you out of your comfort zone from day one. So,
Does
uh,
it? It
but
does.
there's no comfort zone. Like, that's for
No.
really, like, other people. Like, that's for
I
other.
know, Jana, seriously. Lyme disease gets you out of your comfort zone. It sure does.
Yeah, there is no comfort, and zones are. You don't even know what the zones are.
No. And they're ever changing every day to day.
Yes, yes, very much, very much.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, wow, that's a big story. Such contrast in the beginning and the middle and the end. Like I love those stories which have like such a good storyline, such good milestones as such as yours. And I'm very very thankful that you shared it with me, with us. And I'm really hopeful. I really support the idea of people just trying to be attuned, to be attentive to other people's success stories, like to seek for them, to actually inquire and ask, and to not be afraid, not be like in their own kind of bubble, because sooner or later, like every person you meet knows something that you don't, and maybe you're just a little bit, like just one step away from the revelation, from your symptoms and everything. So you should never stop seeking, and that's my message.
That's a beautiful message, Jana. And
Yeah,
I'm so glad that you reached out to me and wanted to interview me.
I think it's absolutely my pleasure, and I'm so happy I found you.